Well, it's that time of the month again. JOJOLands has dropped. Chapter 2 is now officially out, and I will be reviewing it. I'm hyped. There is a lot of stuff that happened in this chapter. As I'm recording this, Twitter is blowing up. So, yeah, this chapter's crazy. Like, really, really crazy. So stay for the end for my thoughts on it. A little teaser and stuff. But, I don't really have anything else to say. I guess with the last video, with the last chapter review, I mean, pretty good. You know, surprisingly did pretty well for just a chapter review. I don't usually do those. And shout out to my editor. I thought I'd give him a little, shout out for doing these videos for me because, I'm trying to make these chapter reviews a little bit fun and stuff. Well, aside from me talking, let's just jump right into the chapter. So this chapter starts off, I think, shortly after the first chapter. I don't know if we're seeing some type of flashback or something, but I'm definitely pretty sure this is happening right after chapter 1. We are introduced to this college woman, I will just label her as she actually doesn't give her name, as she's looking for the stuff. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Grin, grin, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more.
But Jodio, being the badass he is, kind of, starts analyzing this woman pretty fast. But why is he even doing this? Well, apparently Meryl Q kind of wants Jodio and other groups to find other sources of revenue with their little trade going on. So trying to hit for college students instead of high schoolers is a bit better, apparently. The deal moves forward a little bit, and this girl tries to, get the stuff out of Jodio, but Jodio isn't having it. He just is suspicious of this woman for a plethora of reasons. My boy Jodio, a literal few pages and panels later, straight up says, "I think you're a cop, dog," and then starts listing off all of her suspicious items, like off the cuff and off the dome. Like, my man is just seeing through her extremely well, and I won't lie, a little bit of spoilers for later, he basically is calling it. Whoever this chick is, she really sucks at the whole undercover cop thing, to be honest. If a 15-year-old can just see right through your disguise, you may or may not suck at your job. I am just saying that for the record. Jodio even calls her out and just says, "Put the damn money in the can, bruh." And of course she does get freaked out, but then for whatever reason kind of backtracks and says to him, being a police officer means being a righteous person, right? Like, she starts going on this weird monologue to Jodio for whatever reason here, and starts to explain to him that cops can't lie under investigation because of a lot of reasons. I won't bore you with the details, but basically it just becomes useless in court. So she asks Jodio, "Ask me if I'm a cop. I have to answer truthfully here." And she responds, "I am not a cop," because Jodio asks her. And because of this, the deal goes normal for now. Of course, Paco drops off the stuff and everything kind of goes smoothly until, oh shit, plot twist, she was actually a cop the entire time. Look at that. Yeah, basically on a third reread, it was kind of obvious from the start. She kind of sucked at her job, and she was clearly a cop the entire time.
"Hey, how are you, my brother, deadass? My guy, where can I get a name for that Zaza?"
So Jodio really did call it off the cuff, so the kid is pretty smart. And to rub it all in, the female police officer basically just starts being like, "Yeah, you got that all right. I sucked at my job. Everything you said, you got 100% correct." Even Paco from the sidelines basically says, "Yo, what was that whole speech about, bro? Like, you said all of that and you just are just lying to our faces and stuff." So it's like, yeah, Paco's calling out her contradictions for the whole law and justice, cops can't lie, righteous person stuff. I'll talk about it here soon about the whole, connection to the mechanisms of life. Regardless, she basically says, "All I need was the material evidence," basically the physical evidence, to bust you guys. And then the weird cops from chapter 1 decide to make another cameo in chapter 2. Oh dear God, and it also might be important for later for thematic building for Jodio. Oh God, these guys are so cringe, man. Oh, they're gross. They basically have this dialogue that's super creepy and not friendly at all, and kind of go in that route of dirty cop kind of angle with it, abusing their powers and stuff. So it's just yeah, it's not a pleasant scene. It's just really creepy, but it's building to something. I know, Araki, but yeah, it's weird. But of course, everybody forgets that Jodio is a stand user and starts to use November Rain to destroy the evidence, as he basically goes on this monologue saying, "I should have ended you guys, but I'm just gonna hold it back just a little bit," and proceeds to use November Rain to destroy all the evidence and start to injure the cops around him. Jodio also starts his like narrative monologue here about certain events and his personal character shortly after. He says it's completely off topic, but it's pretty deep to his character and really isn't off topic at all. Jodio basically explains at school he's taking these psychology tests to see what's wrong with him. It's not really explained. He just kind of takes these tests that are being paid for by his mom, and it turns out he has ATPD, antisocial personality disorder, or psychopathy. And being 15 and hearing from a doctor that he has antisocial personality disorder, it kind of hurt him a little bit, and I would, think the same. It kind of sucks at 15 just being labeled something that you don't think you are. It's kind of hitting at home a little bit for a lot of people, definitely for me. I do have tendencies like him too. Hashtag Zoomer generation, baby. We cope different. And with the next page of the lack of feelings of remorse or guilt being shown on screen is really interesting to me, as of course his mom is arguing, no, he's not like that. I want a refund. My kid is perfectly fine, of course, playing the good mom here. But Jodio just kind of says, yeah, I'll just try to be careful and just, not be crazy. But then he goes on this really, I think, perplexing, almost like really thought-provoking like monologue at the very end, at least for me. Quote, could someone like me ever be happy? I mean, I probably could if I just work for it, but in the reality of this world is that there are hidden unfair places where we'll meet scumbags like those guys. It makes me lose my mind. There is so much to analyze about this cop scene. It's nutty. There is a lot going on here in terms of the mechanisms of life, of just Jodio's character and how society works. A lot of things are going on here that kind of almost speak in the terms of JoJo consistently with all the parts, all 9 parts. I don't want to go on a super long tangent here, but this scene confirms, Jodio's idea of mechanisms. There are a lot of mechanisms at play here. A corrupt system, people acting on moral high grounds, people with, act differently because they have a different mindset, like Jodio himself, literal deals going on in the background, gears turning as society just keeps on moving forward. Like there's a lot here. I just don't want to go on a super long tangent. I might make a whole video in the future about the mechanisms that are playing in part 9. I really kind of do want to after this chapter, but it's just, I really like this scene. Like Jodio is, I'll be honest with you, I'm really liking him a lot, and just this scene in the beginning of chapter 2 is just, I don't know, it just struck my chords the right way, and I'm seeing how he's thinking. I don't know if that's just the zoomer in me and just, I don't know, the point I am at my life, but he's so fucking cool, bro. Jodio's, I won't lie, he might be my favorite Joestar, but that might be just recency bias. Yeah, but more or less the whole last scene is just kind of like slowly dipping the reader's toes in the ideas of mechanisms and the deeper thoughts behind characters and how they kind of process things. That's what the last scene is just trying to, show the audience basically. But transition into the group trying to find the $6 million diamond. Usagi, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, the pink guy or hot dog guy, everybody started calling him on Twitter the hot dog guy for whatever reason. Even my editor started doing it. It was funny, but his name is actually Usagi. Regardless, is late coming from the airport to meet the rest of the group. And because of being late, Dragona and Paco begin dogging on him like, what's wrong with you? Why are you weird, bruh? Basically. But in all reality, they're just wondering why he's late and they're just giving him a hard time. But I'd also like to clarify here that Dragona says the 3 of them would have been fine and they don't need Usagi. But Usagi does pull his weight and gets a rental car, but the team literally still disses him in the background. Paco even just says, this guy got a drug problem and he's way too weird. Won't lie, he kind of right though, for real. The next few pages is just the group driving around Hawaii getting to the villa. Jodio in the meantime does go on some reconnaissance and actually brings back some information for the group. And then they start planning accordingly to that information that Jodio gave them. Basically, they come down to the conclusion that whoever's in this villa is a loser, and they stay inside their house all day. I'm just saying that out of spite for later. We will talk about it soon. And the group gives themselves a maximum of 15 minutes to get in and get out. And I would like to point out, they go full commando and stuff. They're putting in earbuds, they got code names, everybody's going by different stuff. And of course, they start looking around, analyzing the place, seeing cats, just the environment in general. So they're taking it pretty damn seriously, and the group does show their skill here, personally. Coming from me, I think they're looking pretty good right now. And we get a stand reveal from Usagi, so he does have a stand. So that's pretty cool. And from what it's shown, it's like a stand that's able to make things other people want. So in this example, Usagi says to Dragona say, I want a camera, and Dragona says, I want a camera, and then sticks out his hand as a stand appears and then transforms itself into another camera, so it's able to deceive the security system of the villa. Its stand name is Mate Kudasai, so it is Japanese, but it is a reference to, I think, King Crimson and that song title. So that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of King Crimson, so seeing a song reference just to the band's just other albums and other, like, you know, smaller songs is pretty cool in my opinion. I'm really liking Araki's choices in stand designs and just song choices so far in JOJOLands. And after the second camera is made, the group of course moves on into the villa. And then we get an establishing shot of this Japanese man in the villa. We don't know who he is as he is swimming in the pool currently. Jodio then proceeds to scout out this Japanese man. Quote, I know who he is. He's famous. I have some of his books at home and I always watch the anime adaptations online. So that's why he's been hiding away in this villa, separated from public life. He's that one manga artist. The target's name is Rohan Kishibe, dog. No! I can't scream right now. I wish I could scream right now. The first time I read this, it's still shocking to me now, bro. It's Rohan. It's fucking Rohan, bro. Dear Lord. And then the chapter concludes. Holy shit. Bro, what a cliffhanger of a chapter ending. OMG, dog. So let's talk about Rohan for a little bit. Why is he here? Why is this self-insert of a character showing up again? I don't know why. Araki loves this man, dog. I can't tell you. It's Rohan's here though, I can tell you that. There are a lot of ideas floating around right now though. I'm sorry if I'm making noise with my setup right now. I'm still in disbelief like 8 hours later. I don't know what to think. Why is Rohan back? One side of me is like, yay, Rohan's back. A cool character I get to see again in the Steel Ball Run universe, revamped and remade. Maybe I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the other side of me is the Rohan hater. I hate Rohan. Why do you keep on showing back up? You have your own manga. Stay in your own one-shot manga, please, for the love of God. But I also like really seeing him because it's just the hype and nostalgia. It's just one giant mess of emotions right now, ladies and gentlemen. But, oh, this is so cool, but I just don't like Rohan, bro. Oh, dear Lord. So a lot of people are thinking this is the old universe Rohan and there's some shenanigans going about for whatever reason. That's what a lot of people are saying on Twitter and my YouTube comment section / community section. But I will say this, probably not. There's not going to be some Emporio Part 8 shenanigans here again. This is most likely the Steel Ball Run universe equivalent to Rohan Kishibe. Plain and simple, nothing too complicated. There's no like romantic idea of the old universe coming back. I hope. I would like to see the old universe come back, but I highly doubt it, as the Steel Ball Run universe is supposed to be its own thing and its own continuity. But, you know, Rohan just showing up again is just Araki just putting himself in the story once again because he likes to do that for whatever reason. But moving on to the conspiracy here. Have we already seen this Rohan before? Maybe. We know that Araki likes to sometimes place Rohan in similar parts or similar venues, or at least similar time periods when writing Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe before a major part announcement. And we know that he's already technically done this, as there is a Rohan that does reference the virus that will not be mentioned here on the channel in 2020. And we know that he did write a story before part 5 that takes place in Italy. So this could be the case of we've already seen this Rohan before and is now in the part yet again. And there is some continuity errors with that whole last reference, as, you know, why is there a Rohan that knows about, you know, the virus that will not be mentioned in the alternative universe after part 6? So there's a lot of like weird shenanigans happening with that, and this might technically answer it, that it was actually this Rohan and not the other one. So maybe that's the idea that's floating around, but we're gonna have to see if he mentions anything from Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe. So, my thoughts on the chapter. What am I thinking of chapter 2, The Japanese Man in Hawaii? I love this chapter. This was a cool chapter. We got a stand reveal, we got some interesting background / origins, just the way they think and stuff, character development, a massive nostalgia reveal with Araki and Rohan. This chapter was amazing. I really liked it a lot. Personally, for me, I think the highlight of the chapter wasn't Rohan. Don't get me wrong, Rohan's cool and all, but I am still a Rohan hater certified. I got my badge in that shit and my PhD. But I just like Joe Dio's, like, I don't know, background, the way he thinks, how Araki's kind of like digging into his like psychology, like what makes this kid tick? What are the mechanisms of life? Why did we get shown like this deal that was happening? What is the significance behind it? Like, there is a lot going on here that I think will get revealed in like a future chapter sometime, but I feel like as of right now, at least how I'm analyzing it, like this kid knows that things are going on in the background, like just life in general. There's just this weird mechanism that once Joe Dio figures it out, he's basically won the game of life. I feel like that's what it is. Like there's this happiness goal with him, and once he figures out the mechanism, he's going to be happy. I think that's what is going on, at least personally for me, and how I'm analyzing the story. I could be 100% wrong, but that's just how it's like being set up for me right now with how Araki's writing it so far. I'm also really hardcore relating with the kid at like a personal level. I don't know, Araki's just writing something that I just think fits the generation really, really well, and I think he knows that. Like, he was doing it way before part 9, but like he just gets the times extremely well, even for his age. I would love to be like Araki when I'm older. Araki just gets it, man. I don't know. He just understands like everybody to a certain degree and just kind of explains it through stories. And just seeing Joe Dio be 15 and being labeled as things, and like people are trying to dissect him, and just like he's just, I just want to be happy. It's just so interesting and perplexing to me. Like, Araki's like in his bag right now. I hope he's like that for the entire part. I pray, but it's just a really good chapter. And of course the Rohan reveal, you know, Rohan being there, Heaven's Door. No wonder at the end of chapter 1 they said, yeah, we were gonna lose regardless. Of course, it's Heaven's Door. Heaven's Door is gonna run through them, unless it's a different stand, which would be crazy, but I doubt it. Heaven's Door is just gonna kick all of their guys' asses probably pretty fast because it's Heaven's Door.
Heaven's Door, come!
Well, that's all I really have to say. This chapter was phenomenal as always. I'll see you guys next month. So like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, stay hydrated, and make sure to tune in with the next chapter review. I love doing these things. I just love talking about JoJo's unscripted and just rambling to you guys. So see you later.